I think we need to start looking at a complete redo of the criminal justice system. We need to do some things that are game changers, not just niggling on the edges. We need to start looking at things that have a dynamic and effective change on everybody in the state, such as criminal justice, property tax.
Well, let's talk about criminal justice in particular. Right now, we've got a system, a bunch of people are in jail. What needs to, list some specific things that you think need to really happen that could change the game?
Well, for one thing, what we ought to be doing is we have judges. We ought to be giving judges discretion on how we sentence people. There should be some minimums, but at the same time, we need to give them enough discretion, because what we're doing is ruining a lot of lives. And if we ruin those lives, we're ruining families, and then we ruin generations of families. We need to look at metrics. We need to start measuring. If we put people in prison, are we giving them skills so when they get out of prison, they don't end up back in prison? Do we giving them $100 in a Greyhound bus ticket? It's just short-sighted. We should be training people in prison so they have a skill when they get out of prison. They can do something other than the criminal activities that they learned and apparently got good at. So,
are there too many minimum mandatory sentences?
Absolutely. I mean, and what we ought to be doing is putting those in the discretion of the judges. If they're not good judges, get rid of them. But what we ought to be doing is, it's crazy if I have 6 Percocets in my pocket that I'm automatically gone for 15 years, because the law presumes I'm a trafficker when maybe I have a whole lot of low back pain and I'm just carrying those pills around during the day so that if I have back pain, I can take them. We're eliminating judgment. If our judges aren't good enough, let's get new judges. But we need to start letting judgment look at what we do with people, because we're ruining lives when we do those kind of things.
If you stop and think and you look at from 50,000 feet at what the correction system needs to be achieving for society, let's say, that's really 50,000 feet. What would you say some of the major aims ought to be?
The first and foremost aim is we need to be safe, because if we're not safe, you got nothing. You don't have education, you have business. We got to be first and foremost safe. But then the second thing we need to do is, what do we do to make sure we're not ruining lives and families so that this perpetuates itself generation after generation? And it's the one area that we're measuring education, we're measuring medicine, we're measuring healthcare. Why are we not measuring how well we do in making sure we take these people who have gone astray and put them back in society and become productive members of the society at a price we can all afford? We've built prisons that are now half empty. We've got to start looking at things differently. And there's other places, great progressive places like South Carolina and Texas and Alabama, that are ahead of us. And all we're saying is, let's look at a comprehensive review and let's do what the smart thing is, as long as we preserve making sure the state is safer than it is today.
Are some of these ideas of yours gaining traction with your colleagues?
I believe that more and more people, the more we educate, it's like anything in life. The less you know, the more you're resistant to it. The more that you learn data, you read evidence, I think more we're having people come over to the viewpoint that maybe we should look at this again. We need to quit making public policy based on anecdotal evidence. We need to have public policy dictated by evidence, empirically based, unassailable evidence.